So in the paper, you describe the view that is endorsed by a number of different prominent feminists, including Carol Adams and Marty Keel and others, about the gendered character of eating, and especially as it relates to animal products and meat. So I wonder if you could just say a little bit more about that position, and then we'll go on to ask you about your critique of that position.
So the position that I end up critiquing is one that's fairly common in ecofeminism, and it sees the oppression of women as being intrinsically linked with the oppression of animals, and then often with the environment as well. So that the same kind of systems that work to disadvantage women are intrinsically linked to the kinds of systems that disadvantage animals as well. And in particular, what I'm trying to argue against in the paper isn't that claim, because I agree to some extent that there's a really strong link between the systemic disadvantage of women and animals. It's rather the particular solution that a lot of these feminists advocate, which is that in order to destabilize the kind of patriarchal disadvantaging of women, we need to stop eating meat. So we need to stop oppressing animals in the ways that we have in order to destabilize sexism as it affects women.
Okay, so Adams, among others, cites some anthropological research which apparently shows that there are these correlations between patriarchal culture and a culture that valorizes meat eating, and in fact claims in her book that there has been no culture of meat eating that isn't patriarchal, and that some of the more vegetarian cultures tend to be less patriarchal. So you're not disagreeing with the kind of empirical facts insofar as that is one, if that is one, but you're less sympathetic to the automatic response that in order to be anti-patriarchal, we have to stop eating animal products or meat in particular.
Right. It strikes me as far too simplistic and quick a kind of solution to simply say that a necessary step in overcoming the injustices against women are not eating meat anymore and, ceasing to oppress animals. And part of the reason I think that has to do with the way that eating is gendered in Western society. So it's true, as Carol Adams points out, that men traditionally do the majority of the meat eating, and that meat eating is valorized in Western culture as a sign of strength and a sign of virility, and even as being necessary for these kinds of things.
Sure.
But I think there are not just problems, but that it can actually be harmful to, in response, advocate complete veganism as a necessary means of trying to overcome patriarchal injustice.